संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So in the last class, we are studying that section of the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where we find Bhagavan is giving a detailed description of his existence, as the essence of each and every entity of this phenomenal existence. He is the essence of each and every entity of this phenomenal existence. And in the last class, in the 9th verse, what's the 9th verse? Punya gandha prithivyancha tejas chashmi vibhavasau jivanang sarva bhuteshu tapas chashmi tapasvishu. So the first portion we need not repeat, that he is the essence behind all sorts of perceptions. The 5 perceptions which we have, the eyes with which we see, what we hear with our ears, what we smell with our nose, what we taste with our tongue, and whatever we touch with our skin. So the essence of behind all the perceptions is the Lord and Lord alone. So that first portion speaks of that Punya Gandha, that he is the smell, for all the smell he is the Prithivi. The essence of smell is the Prithivi, the earth. And Tejas Chashmi Vibhavaso. Of all the celestial bodies, he finds expression as the Teja. So that portion we studied quite elaborate in the last class. The next portion also we took up, but as it's a continuity with the 10th verse, we will just have a prelude of that second sentence of the 9th verse of the Bhagavad Gita. What it is saying? Jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschashmi tapasvishu. That among all the living entities, I am Jivan, I am the life. And for the tapasvi, as a human being, no one else does tapasya. Whenever the question of tapas comes, it is the human being alone. The question of tapas comes when there is a choice. Otherwise, there cannot be any tapas, because in the entire kingdom, animal kingdom, all other living beings, for them the stimuli-response condition is fixed. That as Sri Ramakrishna even in the Gospel is saying that the 2 kittens are just playing and you just throw a crumb of bread between them, immediately they will start fighting. There is no other option. For them, the stimuli-response condition is almost fixed. So they will behave in a particular way. So the question of tapas, that even if the world of senses is in front of me, I have developed a certain orientation. A new dimension of the existence has opened up for me. I became aware of that. And to become established in that, to get identified with that, there is a need for renunciation, a question of detachment. So all tapas is a result of that detachment. So now let us try to understand this Jivanang Sarva Bhuteshu Tapaschashmi Tapasvishu. What he is saying? That in Vedanta we say that it is the consciousness and consciousness alone which is existing. There's a one non-dual conscious principle that alone exists in Advaita Vedanta. Nothing else as such has any, in essence, any separate existence from that. Now that non-dual existence, because of ignorance, is projected as the psychophysical existence. It doesn't act such exist separately. Because of ignorance, it appears as the psychophysical existence. In short, we are saying it's a huge discussion. We are just to understand this verse, we are going into it in a very nutshell. That the conscious principle which alone exists is appearing as many, as animate as well as inanimate objects, whatever we see in this universe. And among all these animate and inanimate objects, the conscious principle, the ultimate conscious principle, is getting reflected. Now, as per the reflection, the one appears as many. Just a common example. The sun is shining in the sky. In the ocean, there are innumerable waves. And if you see, each wave is reflecting the sun. So as per the reflection, there are innumerable reflections. Though the sun is one, but as reflection it is many. Now take each wave as a psychophysical entity. Now what happens? Now this wave is getting identified with the reflection because of ignorance. That's where the ignorance starts. That I take the reflection to be real, and when I take the reflection to be real, then what happens? That example which we give, these examples helps us to understand that this ego develops. Ahankara. The ego, how it develops? That when I get identified with the reflection. Now what happens then when the ego develops? It's just, ego is nothing but the echo of the self from the body-mind complex. So this sentence, you keep it in your mind. Ego is actually the echo of the self through the body-mind complex. What it is like, that suppose I am standing in front of a mountain which is at a distance, and I shout my own name. I shout my name. And what I find is that my name is echoed back. And if I am not aware of the principle of this echo, what I will think, I will be deluded, that someone is calling me from the mountains, isn't it? That's the idea I get. It is actually I who am shouting my name. It is echoed back from the mountains, and I think someone is as if calling me from the mountains. So now when the self gets reflected in the body-mind complex, what happens? It is constantly hearing that echo. What's the echo? The self is asserting constantly that I am eternal. I was, I am, I will be, without transformation, in the eternal present. Because the question of time collapses where there is no transformation. If there is no transformation, there is no time. Because of transformation, the concept of time comes. So as there is no transformation in the self, it is as it is. It is in the eternal presence through eternity. And it is asserting that I am eternal. And another thing, I have no desire. I alone exist without the need to be sustained with the help of something apart from me. I am what I am. So I am ever, these are the two things. I am ever fulfilled, I am eternal. These two things are echoed from the self through the body-mind complex. And because of the delusion, now he thinks, I am this body-mind complex, and the echo which is coming from within, that I am eternal and I am ever fulfilled, has to be realized through this body-mind complex. So it is who? It is the self who is actually asserting that I am eternal. I am ever fulfilled. So that's the thing. Now, because of ignorance, I hear it as an echo, which is nothing. This echo of the self through the body-mind complex is the ego. Constantly I'm hearing that. I am eternal, I am ever fulfilled. And throughout our life, from a single bacteria, microbe, to the human, what we are doing, you will find it is an eternal chase to attain eternity in this very life and to attain all sorts of fulfillment. I want to go beyond all wants. Constantly we are doing that. Even a small microbe is doing that. When you give, you just think that under the microscope, I am seeing in a petri dish randomly moving microbes. They have no directions. They are all randomly moving. They almost appear like inanimate particles, randomly moving. Now, the science teacher, to prove that it is not these are not just mere particles, they actually have life. To prove that, what he does, he just puts a drop of nutrient in the center of the petri dish. And now you look through the microscope, all those randomly moving apparently particles now have gathered a direction. They're all moving towards the nutrient. Now instead of nutrient, if I give something toxin, they will all run away from it. They are all moving away from it. So life has this two mode: growth mode, protection mode. These two are always opposite in the direction. What these two are speaking of, that when I have favorable circumstances, I am in the growth mode. What's that? That yes, the one who is saying you're eternal, to realize that eternity through the body-mind complex, I have to be drawn towards the thing. I just have to grab the things which is favorable for my existence. Even a microbe is doing that. It is running towards it. That is raga. The moment the asmita or the ego develops, from that comes raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. These are the three very basic motivations behind all our actions. Raga, the way we respond to the stimuli is this three: raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. This is the basic. Raga is attachment. Whatever I find is favorable for my existence, I am running towards it. And if it is a toxin, then what? I immediately go to the protection mode. I run away from it. So what it speaks of? Dvesha and abhinivesha. Abhinivesha speaks of tremendous attachment for life, which gives us tremendous fear whenever there is a question of death. That is avisneha. And dvesha, if I have the power to get rid of the things which are not favorable, I hate it. I try to get rid of it. So this dvesha and abhinivesha speaks of fight and flight response. Raga speaks of obsession, and dvesha and abhinivesha speaks of fight and flight response. These are the only response, basic response for all life, whether it's microbe or it's the human. So now you will find jivana. What is the life force behind all the existence? This is the basic thing. The self, which is asserting, I am eternal, I am ever fulfilled. Because of ignorance, we are trying to realize it through the body-mind complex. In Vedanta, the idea of evolution was there. It's not something that we came to know with Darwin 165 years back. Today is the 165th anniversary of Darwin's theory of evolution. Today itself. It's today. So we think it is a 165 years. We have came to know. No, in Vedanta, this idea of evolution was there. That the self, that what is saying is something very interesting. In Swamiji's word, that nothing can come out of zero. If evolution has happened, that this evolution presupposes involution. Very interesting word that you won't find in so-called in the scientific language. That now we say that there's nothing comes out of zero. There's a conversation of energy, this mass and energy. This is something which is cannot be created. It can be just it can transform from one form to other. So how can something evolve from zero? So he's saying that it cannot be. So Vedanta says that even in the microbe body, it is a self which has involved first. It has entered there. Now, because of ignorance, the biological evolution happens. It is constantly asserting. I have to realize that someone is saying within me that you are eternal and you are beyond all wants. This I have to realize through this body-mind complex, because this is what I am. This ignorance, taking the ego to be my real self, has resulted in the entire biological evolution. How? A single microbe finds a little change in the stimuli, kills it. But it has to fight against nature. I have to realize the ego, which is constantly asserting you're eternal. But I have somehow deluded myself that I'm the body-mind complex. And I find it do perish. The one who is saying eternal, I have to realize that through the body-mind complex. What we have done, the few cells conglomerated. And there was a division of labor. See, the basic thing of life again is cooperation. They conglomerated. There was again a division of labor. And the most advanced creature we find as these mammals, the humans. You see the body? Actually, we are not one entity. Trillions of cells came together. And there's a wonderful, this cooperation, synergy. The heart cells, they now need not take care of all the functions alone. As a single microbe, that was the only unit of life. Now, as a whole, this my own entire psychophysical body, it has become one unit. And there's a division of labor. The heart cells are circulating the nutrients, taking the oxygen to the various parts of the body. The lung cell is for breathing. The stomach is for the digestion, metabolism. So you find the brain, it is doing the neural network. This is transporting, is networking the information throughout the body. So all these various cells with a specified function is working by the same reason. I have to attain that state of eternity through the body-mind complex. All our science, technology, what it speaks of, that ultimately, with all advancement of the medical science, still we are trying how we can prolong our life. That there must be some scientific breakthrough which can help us to live maybe another 100 years. Constant this is going on. If you read this, our non-fictional books, 80% of them are that only, that how to have a better life, more happier, fulfilled life, and how to live long. Nothing else. You find all these books, non-fictional books, which speaks of this, this life motivation, life skills, all deals with this. Even in the name of spirituality, the yoga has came down to that level, that how we can have a disease-free, long life. So this eternal chase, what it speaks of? Jivana. So now you will understand what is Jivanam, Sarva Bhuteshu. The Lord Himself has involved in this psychophysical existence, and He has Himself encapsulated within it, and now it is trying to realize its eternity. And the entire evolution is happening through all the life forces. So who is the life force behind every existence? It is the self and self alone. So Krishna. So now everywhere you will find that tremendous fanaticism. Krishna is the only God, because he is asserting here, I am Bhagavan, I am Bhagavan. So, but you will find, you go to Shiva Samhita, where Shiva is also saying the same thing. You go to the Vedas, they say if Shruti something contradicts, if Shruti something is contradicting, go to the Shruti. The Vedas, we find the Vak Rishi, that I am this Aham Rashtri Sangamani Vasunam, that I am the Lord of the entire universe. So whoever is getting established in the self is asserting the same thing. It's not only Krishna. What's the idea here? That whoever goes to that altered state, that elevated state of consciousness, he feels identified. He is no more this ordinary psychophysical existence. He finds he is the source of the entire existence alone. the deep within you, the same conscious principle. The moment my, my attention goes from the reflection to the sun, what happens? I'm the only sun. These thousands of reflections is a delusion. I'm the only sun. This reflection is nothing but the sun. So it happens with Krishna, it happens with Shiva. That's in our scriptures. Any scriptures you go, the same thing. That the Lord of that particular text, he is asserting that he is the Lord. Because he has elevated himself to that level of consciousness. So here also, Krishna is saying that I am the Jivana. Being as identified with the consciousness, which is the substratum behind the entire existence, from there he is saying I am the Jivana of entire existence. In fact, that is, you are also that, I am also that, everyone is that. The Jivana Sarva Bhuteshu. The Jivana is the singular of which plurality is not known. It is one. And is behind all entire Bhuta. He is the Jivana. The next word is Tapaschashmi Tapasveshu. Very interesting. As a human being. Now, in Darwin's theory of evolution, as if evolution is a straight line, it will go on. But Vedanta here is a difference. They say no. It's a cycle. It's not a straight line. It starts because of the involution of the self in the cells, microbe, from which the entire biological evolution has happened. But the human, as a human being, we are at the apex of the evolution. No more physical evolution is possible. What happens here? Here, as a human being, we have developed that uniqueness to realize, oh, everything was because of delusion, ajnana. I am already the self. I somehow got deluded with the ego and was trying to realize the eternity through the body-mind complex. That was the delusion. I am already fulfilled. I am the self. I am eternal. I am ever fulfilled. Because of my delusion, I was identifying myself with the body-mind complex, and I was in eternal chase to realize the eternity through the body-mind complex. That constituted the Jivana. Now comes tapas. Once I realize, what's the tapas? Yes, I am the self. There is no need for this eternal chase. For realizing eternity through the body-mind complex, I'm already that. But because of this past, this impulse, that we were trying it for such a long time, even after I realize, now I have to willfully renounce. That no more chase after this so-called mirage. Let me detach myself. Now, is this all the tapas? From where it comes? This sense of detachment, nothing else. That I am the self. Somehow, because of the ignorance, I was trying to realize my eternity through the body-mind complex. Now have realized that I'm already eternal. There is no need to realize the eternity through something which is flowing. Let me detach. Now this detachment, just like a drug addict, he knows what is harming him, but it is not easy. The mind says that you have to get out of it, but his feelings, emotions, everything draws him towards that. It is just like that at the last class we were saying that these stories have so many layers of understanding. The Guru Maharaj simple story, the Mahut Narayan and Hathi Narayan. For us also the Mahut, the mind, is constantly trying to hold the bridle. But our emotions, everything, because of its past association, has become mad. It is simply running. It is beyond our control. It is just like that elephant, mad elephant. So here comes the question of detachment. And as a human being, we do have that capacity to be a tapasvi. And that tapas, again, from where it is coming? It is the self. The same self which because of being deluded was trying to realize eternity through the body-mind complex, now is endeavoring to detach itself from it. So it is the same conscious principle. So that's why it is saying, tapaschashmi tapasvish. Among all the tapasvis, the tapas, that's me. What a wonderful. It's just, you will find this Bhagavad Gita. It has a so wonderful, this every verse will take you to some really a different paradigm, a different awareness. What a wonderful thing he is saying. Tapaschashmi tapasvish. And then the 10th verse. Let us enter to that. Bijang mang sarva bhutanang vidhi partha sanatanam buddhir buddhimatam asmi tejas tejasvinam aham. So that's, I am the bija, the seed behind of the sarva bhuta, of the entire existence. O Partha, that know me to be the eternal seed of all things that exist. And I am the intelligence of the intelligent and the daring of the brave. This tejas svinamaham. So now this bijam sarva bhutanam. So it is not like ordinary bija. An ordinary bija, the seed, it may die, it may get dried up, it may rot. But this bija is something which is eternal. Sarva bhuta. Even when the entire creation will be destroyed, will be annihilated, the kalpa is over, the Lord, as the bija, that if I have not been liberated in this kalpa, that my samskaras didn't allow me to realize the spiritual dimension of my existence, because of ignorance I was in eternal chase to realize the eternity through the body-mind complex, then Lord as the seed remains in a dormant state to again manifest in the next kalpa. This vision never dies. It has to only when you went to that realization, then that vija dries, not before that. That's why in Yoga Sutra they use the word kushala. What is kushala? Dagdha vija kushala. Even in the Gospel, Sri Ramakrishna says that's how to find out the two seeds looks almost same. A roasted seed and a normal seed. It looks same. How to find out which seed is living, which has died? Just sow it. The roasted seed, from that it will never sprout. Only the seed which looks dry, but its still life is there, it hasn't been roasted, it again will sprout. So only when we attain spiritual realization, the vija, that gets dried. You know the word that sometimes we use the Sanskrit word nowadays they say a very interesting thing, that the philosophy lies in the language. If you want to know the philosophy of any culture, study the language, try to find out the etymological meaning of the words, you will find the philosophy is hidden there. The kushala actually means, the word kushala means klesha, from klesha this word came. So, dagdha klesha. Klesha means all the afflictions for whom it has been burned, is kushala. Dagdha klesha kushala. So for whom all the klesha, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha has been burnt. How it has been burnt? So as we were saying, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, this attachment, hatred, fear, behind all this asmita, the ego is there. The ego has to die. How it can die? Only when you go to the spiritual realization. Otherwise it's not going to die. It will continue again in the next kalpa. In this kalpa, just the way every day I go to the state of deep sleep, again I wake up, I'm the same person. If I haven't realized the ultimate reality, then even if this universe collapses, and again the new universe comes, and from the new kalpa, the new cycle, I will still remain as a seed form. Just the way I go to the seed form when I'm in deep sleep. From that seed, again this world manifests. The same way, again I will manifest as a living being. So this what the Lord is saying, that I am the Vija. That in the previous verse he told I am the Jivana. Now the question comes, when what happens when the universe ends? Then that Jivana is over? No. It continues as the Vija till it go to the realization. Vijang Mang Sarva Bhutana. So Sri Ramakrishna gives a very nice example that he says at the end of the creation what happens? The Lord is like the elderly mistress of the house. In the olden days, the senior most lady of the house, she is the Griha Kartri. Now she has the responsibility to sustain the entire family. What she will do she has a hodgepodge bag. She is saying that Sri Ramakrishna that she has a hodgepodge bag in which she will be collecting so many things, the cucumber seeds and the foam. This this coral is actually the idea was somehow the ocean waves get solidified to form corals. It's not the fact, but that was the idea. So that's why in Indian languages they call the coral as solidified this ocean foam. So these things she will collect, keep it in a bag, and whenever it's needed, that again in the next season I have to plant those trees, the cucumber trees, the flower plants. Again from that hodgepodge bag, all the seeds I will bring out and I will plant. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying that Lord is like that elderly mistress who has a hodgepodge bag in which she collects everything to again bring them out at the beginning of the new creation. That's the idea of Vijang Mang Sarva Bhutana. Now Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi Tejas Svinam Aham. So now from this portion he will be elaborating that previously we found that in the 10th verse he told that I am the Paurusha. Paurusha in the nowadays we have to translate as humanliness. It's not just manliness, that as a human being we have some uniqueness which is different from all other animals. So the Lord is saying that I am the Paurusha, that in the human I am the humanliness. That was spoken of in the 10th verse. Now what all those humanliness are? The first we have already spoken of this tapaschashmi tapasvi. That is one of the humanliness, uniqueness of the human being. No other creature can have tapas. It's impossible. That I am the self, no more clinging to this body-mind complex. I have to develop this sense of detachment from which all tapas originates. As a human being, because of that Paurusha, one of the qualities is tapas. The other qualities has been spoken of here as buddhi, teja, tejasvina. This buddhi, it speaks of the discriminative faculty. As a human being, we have that. That as if in the life, constantly, in each and every moment of the life, we are as if in the crossroads, where we have to determine what is Shreya, what is Preya. As in the Upanishad it has been spoken of. Shreyascha preyascha manushya metat tau samparitya vivinakti dhiraha. That most of us, throughout the process of evolution, what has happened? That I have taken the apparently pleasurable as the preferable. Shreya is the preferable, Preya is the pleasurable. We always take the pleasurable to be the preferable. But as a human being, we have the capacity to discriminate between the real something which is preferable from the thing which is apparently pleasurable. So that speaks of the buddhi. Throughout our life we are doing that. As a small child, it always likes to play. As a parent, we are trying to enkindle its buddhi by saying, you think this is very pleasurable for you and that's what is preferable for you, that's what you think. Know it for certain. It is going to lead you nowhere. You have to focus your mind, you have to study. So preferable, pleasurable, constantly, throughout our life, that's what we are doing. Just now as an elderly person, I liked sweet, but now I find that if you go for your blood profile test, the doctor said it is in the borderline. So you know what is preferable, what is pleasurable. That till now I thought what is pleasurable is preferable, but that it's not so. So constantly, that's as a human being, no other creature can do that. So that's why this buddhir buddhimatam asmin, as a human, the moment he is saying, God is saying that I am the paurusha in the human being, this uniqueness as a human which we have, which no other creature has. So of them, as just now we told, the tapas was one of the things, and second, the buddhir buddhima, the faculty of discrimination, and tejasvinam, that I am the strength required to build one's destiny. I am that strength. Now this tejas again will be elaborated in the next verse, in the 11th verse. That tejas, the strength we need to build our own destiny as a human being. There's no other creature thinks of building their destiny. They are born, they live as per the stimuli response conditioning which has been by which they are conditioned. The struggle is going on, but it is unaware. They are unaware. It's just in the biological level. It's going on to evolve more further and further. But that conscious struggle is not there. That conscious struggle to really create my own destiny as a human being we have, and that speaks of the tejas, the strength which as a human being we can use, we can channelize to build our destiny. So what that tejas is, again, will be elaborated in the 11th verse. What it is saying? Balang balavatang chaham kama raga vivarjitam. And then dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Just see how wonderfully, isn't it something as scientific as this Darwin's theory of evolution? He's just speaking of this evolution. So now as a human being, after saying you having this, that we have the capacity to build our destiny, that strength, and he is that strength. Now he's saying, balang balavatang chaham kamaraga vivarjitam. That those who have the real strength to build their destiny, I am the strength in them, bala. But that bala is kama raga vivarjitam, is bereft of the desire to gratify our instant gratifications. Kama raga vivarjita speaks of that constantly we have that this impulse, instinct to gratify all our the pleasures of life. It's the sensate pleasures. Immediately, whenever it comes, we have that tendency. But nowadays they speak of that as a human being, they have found out that it is not our IQ which speaks of our destiny. That we thought that the one who is intelligent, he is going to shine in life. They're saying no. The one who has the capacity to delay his gratification, even if his IQ is not that high, it is he or she who is going to excel in life. This kama raga vivarjitam speaks of that. Your strength, which is having the capacity to delay the gratification. Kama raga vivarjitam. What's that actually speaking of? That we have the capacity to forsake the short-term gains for the long-term gains. Most of us are myopic, in that we go for immediate gratification. But those who have excelled in life, you will find what is the quality have enabled them. They always have this long-term goals. They always have the vision for that, and that vision enables them to overcome all the immediate gratifications. This idea, even in Bhagavad Gita, we will find in the later chapter, in the 17th chapter, this Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, where he will be speaking of this Sattvic Sukha, Rajasic Sukha, Tamasic Sukha. That what is Rajasic Sukha? That what appears as a nectar at the beginning, but at the end it turns out to be poison, that is Rajasic. And what is Sattvic? Just the opposite. That it appears to be poison at the beginning, But pariname amritopamam. At the end, it's nectar. All our endeavor, which speaks of delaying the gratification, it's of course a struggle. It's a suffering. I want my entire psychophysical existence is going for some gratification. I say no. There is some goal for me for which, for some long-term gain, I have to get rid of the short-term gains. This famous marshmallow experiment speaks of this. This balang balavatang chahang kama raga vivarjitam. That even with the small children, that experiment, so many times we speak of. That this is a very famous experiment which has been done. That a small child, they always go for instant gratification. You give them a marshmallow, it is immediately going to grab it and eat it, and you say, wait. Would you like to have the second one? Yes, of course. Then you have to wait. You have to wait for 10 minutes. I am going out for a work. I will come back. The one who is conducting the experiment, he says that I will come back. And then the first one, if it is still there on the plate, then I am going to give you the second one. And 90% of the children miserably fail. There is some CCTV camera to see their reactions, and they find that how helpless they are. They are struggling at last to succumb to that temptation. It is not only the children, we also are in the same condition. But they found only a few of those children, a small percentage. They somehow managed to delay this, they resist their temptation. They managed. And the experiment doesn't end there. They kept track of all those children for years together. And it was found that those who had that capacity to delay the gratification, as a student, they performed much better than the others. And not only that, even in their profession, they were in a much more, in a better condition. They excelled academically, they excelled professionally, both the way. So that speaks of building their life with that strength, which is kama raga vivarjitam. They have that capacity to delay their gratification so that they can build their life that to just attain the destiny, the goal which they have spoken of, which they have thought of. So as a human being, we create everything twice. That's why a Brahmin is called Dvija, the second birth. That first the biological birth, and then when he is initiated into the spiritual life, there is second birth. But it is not only the Brahmin. The entire human race is Dvija. See, when you have to build a house, you have purchased a plot of land, you have built a house. Do you start immediately? No. First, it's in your mind. The materials with which you are going to build that building hasn't yet arrived. Those who have to, the tradesperson and the builders, they haven't arrived. First, everything is in my mind. And that what I have in my mind, I ask a draftsman to draw it, to create the blueprint. That's the first creation in my mind, that blueprint. And then this blueprint, once the blueprint is prepared, then comes the second creation, this physical manifestation, what we see. So as a human being, we have the capacity to build everything twice. First in our imagination, then in reality. This capacity to build twice because of the teja, and that teja, one of the characteristics is the bala, which is kama raga vivarjitam. That unless we can delay the gratification by always keeping the long-term goal in our mind. So renunciation is not something negative, that I am renouncing something. It is a positive thing, that I am renouncing something trivial for something which is really worthy. That's why that jokingly we say that when a person went to a monk, a renouncing monk, and said, "Oh, you are great." Well, what makes you feel that I am great? The monk asks, "Oh, you have renounced." And then the monk says, "It's you who have renounced, not me. I have renounced something trivial for something worthy. And you have renounced something worthy for something trivial. Whose renunciation is greater? It's your renunciation which is greater, isn't it?" So for most of us, that's the renunciation. We go for the immediate gratification. So here it is saying that again the Lord sitting within us has given us that capacity. So why everything he is saying he is the essence? Because after all, the last message of Bhagavad Gita is nimitta matra bhava savyasachin. That you just become an instrument in my hand. It is not you who are doing. It is I who am manifesting as all the faculties within you. So with all those faculties, you do your best and there it ends. Don't seek for the result. Does a pain say, I have written these so many books? It is the one who is holding, the author. Does the pain say that I should get this award for excellence? No, it's the author, the one who is holding it. I am just the nimitta. So you find all these ideas are interlinked. That he is the essence behind everything. Behind my bala, it is he. I am doing my best, but again at the same time that idea of ownership shouldn't come. Then again I am succumbing to my ego. From where the thing which I am trying to get rid of, again I get rid of it. That's why Sri Ramakrishna used to say a very nice thing, that ego is just like the root of the banyan tree. In the old dilapidated building, you find the saplings of banyan tree has came out. You cut those stems and the leaves, but the roots have gone so inside the cracks. It's almost impossible to get rid of them. After a few days again you find the saplings are coming out. So ego is something like that. So Bhagavan throughout the Bhagavad Gita is helping us to go deep into our psyche, that I may think that I am getting rid of my ego, but that idea itself can enhance our ego at each and every step. So he is saying that I am the faculty behind each and everything, so that ego doesn't get the chance to manifest. So try your best, knowing very well it is the Lord who is working through me. So he is the balang balavatam chaham kama raga vivarjitam dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. So this dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi, that I am again the kama, but which is not something contradicting the dharma. That see, these ideas are wonderful. That in Vedanta is the only, in Vedas are the scriptures where they speak of 4 purushartha: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. There's not only getting one with the divine or liberated is the goal. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These 4 purusharthas are there. To say a small child that this life is worthless, become one with God, he will say useless. What's this what he's speaking of? He's full of that life energy. He has to go through the experiences of life to really attain that wisdom. I cannot say him that at the very beginning that this life is useless. A new child bubbling with life, that sit down and meditate. It is impossible. So what I have to do? First I have to teach him dharma. So in this life, you want to get established in life. There are some wrong ways, there are some perfect way. If you just adopt the wrong ways, you will be ending up in jail. Maintain your integrity. Otherwise, you will find your life is getting disintegrated. Of course, you go for the pleasures of life, the wealth. Go for that. But first comes dharma. So as a student, nowadays we think that gathering information is knowledge. In the Vedic period, it was internalization of the values. That was the real education. So as a brahmachari, he was supposed to learn dharma. Why? Just to become a sadhu? No. After brahmachari, he is entering the state of grihastha. Now you do have the right for artha and kama. But it has to be guided by dharma. Go for the pleasures of life. Go for the wealth. Go for name and fame. Go for sensate pleasures. Everything is okay. But it should be guided by this dharma. You should maintain your integrity. Then what happens? With your integrity, when you are earning wealth, you are enjoying life, a time will come. In the present day, they call it midlife crisis. That all the goals which I thought is going to give me ultimate pleasure of life, I have attained that. Now what to do with life? What to do with life? That big question mark comes. And as a human being, we have the capacity now to really ask the bigger questions of life. And then the spiritual portal opens up. As a vanaprasthi, as a sannyasi, that opens up. Just see how wonderfully the purusharthas were determined, that for a brahmachari it is dharma is the purushartha, for a grihastha it is kama and artha and kama, and then as a vanaprasthi sannyasi they think of moksha. So that's why they were called asrama. The word asrama is very interesting. That asrama means, the srama means endeavor. Asrama means, wherever in Sanskrit the prefix a is used, it is used in the sense of encompassment, from the beginning to the end. Many say the idea of India as a nation was not there. It was there. In Kalidasa's literature, in so many literature, whenever the entire this India was has to be indicated, which was a culturally is one unit, same culture, same religion, same spirituality. The term was Samudra Himachal. What it means? Is a sense of encompassment, from the ocean to the Himalayas. Samudra Himachal, one land. Nanda. Nanda itself means happiness. Why they use That from the beginning to the end, without any interruption, full of happiness. Ananda. So similarly, asrama. Srama means endeavor. What is it? It is sense of encompassment. From the beginning to the end, endeavor. So in the Vedic society, there was no concept of retirement. There was no retirement. That you have to endeavor throughout your life. Asrama, from the beginning to the end. But as per the stage of life, your endeavor changes. The motivation behind the endeavor changes. As a student, what was your endeavor? Asrama was to get established in dharma, to develop the soft skills, not just the certificates, the soft skills. That will actually speak of your enrichment as a grihastha. Now, as a grihastha, forget about everything. The dharma which you have acquired, with which try. In your mind, idea is that if I acquire wealth, if I enjoy the sunset pleasure of life, I will be happy. Go for it. But keep the dharma in your mind. Otherwise, your life will be disintegrated. You will be in misery. Now, with this, I start. Endeavor. Full of endeavor. Now, this, again, I enter a state where I find that saturation. It is taking me nowhere. I am half-fed. As when Swami Vivekananda in the West, when he was traveling throughout the West, at that time, socialism has just started. The idea of socialism has started evolving. And when someone asked Swamiji about his opinion about socialism, he told, there is a very famous statement, that I am a socialist. And then the next phrase is very important. Because half a loaf is better than no loaf at all. Very interesting, the half a loaf. What is half a loaf? That with artha and kama, I have reached the state of life where my bare sustenance has been taken care of. But as a human being, we cannot remain satisfied with the so-called bare sustenance of life. Once there is food in my stomach, my hunger has been satiated, this mind starts working. What to do with life? What to do with life? I can never remain satisfied just by food and drink and just with the trivial pleasures of life. Impossible. That bigger question has to come. So that's why Swamiji is saying that I am a socialist because half a loaf. At least this socialism is speaking of a society where all will have that sustenance. There won't be exploitation. Ideally, you're speaking of that basic sustenance has been taken care of. But know it for certain that is just half loaf. So there, when he's saying I'm a socialist, actually he's indicating that is not a philosophy which is going to give you the ultimate fulfillment. For that, vanaprastha and sannyasa with the ideal of moksha, that only can give you. So you are evolving as a human being. So here also that's where you'll find what he's saying, that as a human being, yes, that first bala comes with that I have some fixed long-term fetched goal. For that I am delaying my gratification to attain that. And when I attain that, to maintain my integrity, this dharma has to be kept in my mind. Without dharma, All this attainment is everything I will lose. You will find in our scriptures, they say that whenever anyone is doing tapas, the Shiva is there to grant him the boon. Immediately guarantees him. Even a Ravana is doing tapas, the Asura is doing tapas, he will give the boon. Even a Devata is doing tapas, yes, he will give the boon. And then we find the Asura is trampling over the world, creating havoc. And then again Vishnu has to come and annihilate him. They say, why this? Why this play going on again and again? If he is a Rakshasa, why you are giving the boon? The idea is the same thing. The plan of the universe is such, when you endeavor by delaying your gratification, by doing tapas to attain something, you will get it. Shiva is there to grant you the boon. It is this will grant you the boon. But now after you attain that, what are you going to do with that? Welfare of the society? Loka sangraha? Or exploitation? If you are going for exploitation, at last you will find even IAS officer is in jail at last. After all, that IAS officer has went to that position not just simply that he was spoon-fed. He had to go through that endeavor. He had to delay his gratification. He has went there. But now he forgets his dharma. And then again he is disintegrated. At last he ends up in jail. So when you attain that position, now what are you using it for? Loka sangraha or for exploitation? Again, just see this, as Bhagavad Gita is so much linked. In the 3rd chapter, he says, Sahayagya praja srishtva. When I created this universe, I created with the idea of yagya, interbeing, interdependency. After attaining a position through tapas, I forget that basic principle of life. I go beyond dharma. But I can never break dharma. Dharma means law. If I can break a law, it is no law at all. Gravitation is a law. Can I break it? No. If I say that I don't believe in gravitation and jump out of a 20-story building, am I going to fly? No. In our attempt to break the law, I will crash. I will kill myself. I will disintegrate myself. Law is law. That's why Sri Ramakrishna used to say that there are eternal truths. And someone asked, is there? He said, yes. And then Sri Ramakrishna's reply was wonderful. Lonka khele jhal lagbe. If you are taking chili, you are bound to have that hot sensation. What's the idea? The chili is there kept in a separate plate. Well, while taking my meals, whether I take a chili or not is my choice. But I will take the chili, enjoy its flavor, but won't have that hot sensation. Can it happen? No. The result is fixed. If you don't take the chili, well and good. If you take the chili, the result is fixed. So, this dharma speaks of that. It is just there like this like a watchtower. It is there. It can never change its position. It is there, just fixed. This is like a watchtower. It is always fixed. It can never change. Yeah, that's why Swamiji used to say a very nice thing. That this truth never the society has to always be aligned to the truth. The truth never, the exact sentence is, the truth never pays homage to the society. The society has to pay homage to the truth or else die. As simple as that. So dharma speaks of that truth. It is something which is fixed. We have to orient ourselves according to that, to really attain that the goal in life. So this dharma viruddha. So after you have attained a position in life by delaying your gratification, then again this dharma has to be the guiding principle for us to really continue in that state and evolve to the further spiritual dimension of our existence. If I cannot maintain dharma, I will disintegrate, and if I get disintegrated, then what will happen? I will be in a pitiable condition. I haven't attained that stability, that tranquility to really think of the higher dimensions of my existence. It's impossible. The spiritual portal cannot open up. So that's why this is saying that karma is okay. I am the karma. That after first he is saying I am this two sentence may seem contradictory. First he is saying I am kama raga vivarjitam. Yes, as a brahmachari. In the student phase, you have to delay your gratification. And then, yes, you're entitled for karma, but that has to be guided by dharma. So these are not two something contradictory. So this first, I am delaying my gratifications to attain something, and now I can of course gratify my senses, but keeping the dharma in mind that it doesn't enter in the other suffering. The dharma is actually, the simple principle behind dharma is what? This papaya parapiranam paropakara punyaya. Paropakara punyaya papaya parapiranam. That's the basic principle of all dharma. That whenever you are thinking of others' welfare, that is punya. And whenever you are trying to enjoy life at the cost of others, that is papa. It's as simple as that. So, and this papa punya is guided by dharma. And this dharma is the thing which is going to take you to the spiritual dimension. That will take you to that stability of life where you find the physical needs alone cannot take you to this, that give you the ultimate fulfillment, and then that spiritual portal opens up. So that's the thing is spoken of in the 11th verse. So we will the 12th verse, of course, will be the last verse in this section where Bhagavan is saying that I am the essence behind that each and every being. So that again he will be taking up in details in the 10th chapter, but in this 7th chapter this will end with the 12th verse. So what he has to say in the 12th verse, again we will take up in the next class. So with this we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar.